And now my mic is back on. Let me rewind that. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I am Tom. I am the Astro Canuck. I'm running through my introduction right again. We are looking at some astrophotography processing today because the clouds aren't holding up, and it looked like it was actually going to be clear for a while, and I was kind of getting ready to get the scope set up and get it all uncovered and ready to go. However, it doesn't look like the weather is going to be favorable. We have pretty much already reached the dew point for the evening, so it's even if I did have the scope out, there wouldn't be enough juice. No, there'd be too much juice on lens. There wouldn't be enough time to kind of get a decent looking image. And yeah, there's the scope. The sky it has a nice thin layer of clouds. So unfortunately it's not in a good position to try and take any photographs. Plus we are at a full moon. So it's a little unfortunate there. Old Balls. Hi, son. Hey, Pops. How are you doing? Harbstrom. Popcorn. Happy Halloween. Brother, how you doing? Good to see you in here. So adorable. You are so adorable. Hi. Got the popcorn ready. We're going to look at some nebulae, and we're going to process a couple of photos at least. One that I have already processed. Right. Are we back? Oh boy. This internet, I swear, Virgin Media is doing my head in right now. And this happened the other night. I started everything up and all of a sudden it cut out. And then, oh boy, the wonders of the internet. So now after this happened the other night, everything was running smooth. So let's assume we're good. Hey, Haskins Dustin. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I am hoping that the internet is going to stay stable because this is mildly embarrassing when it does that. So, a few of you may have noticed that when you kind of logged into my channel, you had to watch an advertisement. And that is because I have become a Twitch affiliate. I have reached the minimum requirements that they need you to accomplish. And now I'm able to monetize my channel. And so what that means, you have to watch a short commercial break at the beginning there. And yeah, it's I thank you all who have tuned in, everybody who has watched and liked the channel and shared it with their friends. I 100% could not have been able to do that without your support. So I appreciate that very much. So really what my goals are going to be for this channel is any kind of income that comes in from this is just going to go straight towards any telescope equipment, anything that's going to help us see more of the night sky, get some better imaging. I think actually what my first goal is going to be is to purchase a dew heater system for this telescope that I'll be able to go for longer shooting the sky in the evenings, because if that dew point reaches just at that too high of a level there, the scope is going to fog up, and unfortunately I won't be able to image anymore, and that kind of defeats the purpose of what we want to do for live astrophotography. So yeah, the nice work. Thank you for your support, Dusty, Pops, everyone else who's watching right now. Thank you so much. I am hoping to, sorry. My goal is going to be, the first thing out of anything from this channel is going to be putting any money towards getting a dew heater. And that's the thing. There's multiple options that you can choose to support. It's little bits that come through for if you're cheering bits on the site. If you're subscribing, if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub for free, and that allows you to cut out the advertisements. I think I have a new emote. I don't know if it's on there. This all happened this morning, so I definitely have a lot more work to do on the setup on the stream. So there's this is very new, and to actually reach this level, I feel it was fairly quick. I think it's just about 30 days from when I had my first live stream through Twitch. I didn't even look at when the first live stream was on Twitch, but it has it's come to this level where now I'm able to have a subscription. And what I'll be doing with that is I'm going to be designing some new things for the site. It's going to be a bit of a work in progress. So, I mean, those of you who kind of join in early, I don't have much in the way to offer at the moment. However, I'm working on it. And if there's kind of any like tier subscription options that you guys might would like to see, because I'm open to any suggestions really. I think one of them will probably be for maybe a second tier sub, or a third. I don't know. We'll kind of think of something. I'll think of something there. One of them will be, I guess, to basically control, or at least guide. No, not guide, not control. I don't have that capability yet. But to suggest the targets for the evening that we're going to shoot for a live astrophotography night. And what I'll do is I'll get a bit of a map kind of set up of the sky, so you know what targets are going to be available. And with that a certain subscription tier, then basically you'll run the show, I'll shoot the targets, and we'll talk about them. So it won't just be won't be me picking the targets, it'll be you guys doing that. So I think I will there's a lot to do. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I can see any messages that come through. We're mainly on Twitch for the I guess the home of everything. And if you're watching on Facebook at the Astro Canuck, thank you guys very much for tuning in on Facebook. And I can see those messages coming through. Most recently I have been. But if I don't kind of get to those responses pretty quick, I do apologize on that. This bottom chat bar that we have, these are the chat coming in from Twitch. So if you're in Twitch, you'll see your messages kind of pop across the screen there, so you do know that I can see them and everybody else can see them. And I am also working on some other automatic replies on here, so we'll see how that goes as well. Again, this is brand new to me. I have kind of tried to throw myself in the deep end, but also not feel a little overwhelmed, because there is a lot that has to be done. And it's totally new territory for me, so I'm trying to come up with some fun ideas to make subscriptions worthwhile, to be able to give back something to everyone who is so gracious in being able to offer up a subscription fee to you. I mean, the first thing is you're not going to have any commercials at the beginning, but it's also just some other kind of way that I can connect with you guys, and just being able to make your experience of this whole channel something even more enjoyable than just someone who is just kind of passing by. For those of you who really want to help out and kind of be a part of this community, I'm so much new things, so many more things to learn. And I'm kind of narrowing down a name of this community, and it possibly just could be something as simple as the Observatory. So those of you who have followed our channel, you are now members of our observatory. And it was that, or just calling it the cosmos, but that seems a little too grandiose. I think we'll possibly stick with calling this the observatory. We'll see how that goes, see if it catches on. If not, whatever, we'll see. We'll play with something. We'll play around with some ideas. I do want to thank got some of the latest viewers who kind of came in last night. Arcades 2011, Agent Orange, and Alarming Bunny. Thank you guys very much for following the channel, and welcome to the observatory. We are for what our community, what I want us to be is just as open and accepting, and just sharing any ideas. If you see something that I might be doing that could be tweaked a little bit, let me know. I'm open to any suggestions. I am happy for anybody who is a streamer as well. Let me know, because it's one of the ways that we're going to be able to discover who's doing something fun, who's doing something new, because I think this is a bit of a deviation from regular things that you're going to see with people more playing video games. And I do like this. This is what I really want to be able to do, is to communicate with you guys. And the observatory, love it. All right, there's one vote for the observatory. We'll see how that is there. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for all this, because there's so much that we can do here, and the possibilities are, pardon the pun, astronomical. I think it's going to be a fun time, and also next week the weather is looking very, very favorable. Monday the forecast is completely clear skies for Monday night. However, it is also possibly 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts, or 25-mile-an-hour sustained winds. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens. I think if everything is fine for that, we'll do up a live stream. And again, with the schedule, a lot of that is based on, a lot of the live astrophotography is obviously going to be based on the weather for me. So every live astronomy or astrophotography session is going to be dependent on the weather, obviously, and it could cancel or even pop up at a moment's notice. So I will also try to have more content on in the sidelines to be able to pick that up and run with maybe a rainy day astronomy during the week, or whenever the weather kind of suddenly changes. So in terms of that astronomy, that is the main focus, obviously, of this channel, based on my name. I will always kind of have some video games on the go, just for some fun, just to change things up a little bit there. And obviously, with Halloween kind of wrapping up, I will be I guess I'll be changing up the theme a little bit there. And I think, if not, we'll see well, tomorrow night maybe a little bit more, just to catch the end trails of Halloween spirit. But later tonight, after this, I will be jumping on to play Phasmophobia for a little bit, and we'll switch up the stream there. It'll actually, I'll start a new. Actually, no, I think I can just stop doing Facebook and YouTube, because the YouTube channel is going to be basically my archives for all these. I don't know how long, now being an affiliate, how long my channel will hold the videos from previous broadcasts. I'll have to look into that and double check. There's so much. There's so many new things, and there's just tons of different options that I can do on the site now to make it more customizable. And I am going to be looking to modify some of this around here, and just kind of make things a little more streamlined, maybe. Just I like the way how during my horror chat that it's a bit more of a talking head, so let's I'm just gonna so if I'm playing when I've been playing the horror games, I have kind of this larger area to be able to talk to you guys with. And I think what I'm going to do is you almost use this as a base for the upgraded or the new look for things, because now that I have my up here we have our viewers and our follower list, I'm gonna be adding a subscriber icon just so we can see just how many people want to support the observatory and make it a more interesting place to be. So that is the plan there. Now we're going to be, like I said, processing some astrophotography, and I do have, let's see if I can kind of pull up one of the images from the North American Nebula that we'll be looking at. And that is, there you go. So it'd be NGC 7000. And kind of this image coming up is a previous 10-minute exposure that we did back in, it's in July, that I, okay, we didn't image this, but I had done this. This was with my smaller telescope, the Skywatcher 72ED, so it's a much wider field of view on this one. So we have basically caught the entire nebula in this one photograph. And kind of just to the north of this image is the Pelican Nebula, which is another great area that I think is fantastic for photography. So this, yeah, so that's the North American Nebula that we'll be looking at. And one of the more interesting spots in this area is the Cygnus wall here on the right. And this is just one single 10-minute exposure. So I think that we'll be able to see a lot more detail kind of coming through, and I will kind of start the process on that, because I will need to actually stack this whole image as well, because this is brand new for the North American Nebula, start to finish. We're doing that one tonight, so let's get those into Deep Sky Stacker. And right, so Deep Sky Stacker is the program that I use to as it says, I'm stacking the images where all your exposures that you've taken. This calculates where the scope is, if there's any rotation, any movement, and it kind of lines them all up correctly. It's different than if you're kind of doing this in Photoshop, because Photoshop just identifies the pixels, whereas the Deep Sky Stacker, its algorithm is a little different, and you're able to pick out, it's able to pick out what the star formation is, and it'll align your images accordingly there, and it will also it'll average out any of the noise. There's a chance of getting rid of any faint satellite streaks, and it'll put together those images, and then you have to further process it into Photoshop. So let's bring those images in. And that is NGC 7000. I think this should all just be the, and the FITS files are what are commonly used in astrophotography, because there's basically no loss in data on these images. So you have some more options there, and I'm noticing that I have apparently channel points, rewards and challenges. So it's so another new little thing that's available on the site are these rewards and challenges. Now there are some really cool things that people do with this section. and you're able to do some more interaction to interact within the channel, and it can be fun little things, and it could also be some maybe distractions. Although for the the pace of how I work on this channel here, it's going to be a little different for these things. And I think right now, I mean, if you feel like if you want to have a specific question answered, definitely highlight my message. Would be definitely going to grab my attention. Although when things can be nice and calm in here, it's not too bad to catch those messages coming through. And I think we're just a nice, cool and collected group. And I think things can really pick up a little more when we're doing live astrophotography, because it's a little more dynamic. And in this way, taking these images, it's just a little more of a chilled night. And I do hope, if anybody is going out trick-or-treating, if it is possible in your area, I do wish you all the best in that. Now, unfortunately, we have just been informed in the UK that we'll be going into a nationwide lockdown next week, starting Thursday. So there's going to be further restrictions on us, and that's a little disappointing that things have kind of come back to that. But this is what we kind of have to do to look after ourselves. So I would hope that in the silver lining, that during all this, that we have nice clear skies and we're able to kind of take our minds off any of the problems that are kind of going on, and just maybe look up for a little bit and just enjoy the night sky. So that is the weather next week. Almost all of next week is looking really good. So I'm hoping that we can do a lot more live astrophotography mostly all of next week. And I think that'll be it's just gonna be a lot more fun. It's gonna be something more consistent with we'll try and find new targets. And I think maybe if the weather is also looking to be more favorable, that we can take a little more time on some of these areas of the sky and really pull out some really neat details. And I think another way to kind of build up the image, now this also requires a bit of an upgrade in hardware. So that's maybe the second goal of things, is to upgrade our remote controlled computer outside. So if we upgrading to the Pro model of the ASI Air, then that's allowing me to do live stacking of the images. So what we're doing here is, these are all images that I took back in June, on the 26th of June, and now I have to stack them all up there. Whereas if we had the ASI Air Pro, we're able to we can do shorter images, and then it'll automatically stack those images and build that image up as we go. So it can be something where we'll be chatting about any astrophotography, but just alongside of us, this image is going to start building up with each progressive photograph, and you're going to see that image come through. So we're not kind of sitting here waiting in a 10-minute interval to get these images together. Now an interesting thing about looking at this image, if the first image I took was at 10:15 in the evening, and this was just about the time when we were almost nearing astronomical dark. Actually, no, I think we had just lost it, but you can see that it's very washed out almost. But an hour later, you can see how much darker it gets. Just the background sky, because the sun isn't impacting on the sky. and the city lights aren't having that much of an impact. But you go an hour later at 12 and there isn't that much difference, because that's about as dark as we are getting. And I think if we go to an hour later at 1 o'clock, it already starts to get brighter. So there's that. Here's about, this is 20 after 1. I think, say for argument's sake, that these are all an hour apart. Quarter after 12, it's basically the sky was at its darkest, and quarter after 11, you can just see that just that step in the gradient of the brightness there. And yeah, those are the kind of skies that I had to deal with during the summer, because being in the UK, we are at a higher latitude, and just with Earth's, the tilt of Earth's axis, we either are going to get some super long dark nights, like right now we're reaching astronomical dark just past 6 o'clock in the evening. So, and then it lasts until about almost 5 in the morning. So we're close to almost like 12 hours of prime astrophotography imaging times. And that is only achievable if I am able to shoot all night by having the proper equipment out there, and obviously having clear, stable skies. And I think coming up with this this week and this hopefully this whole season, we're going to be able to get a lot more time out there. Yeah, I think this. I pick just kind of clicking on some random images. These were, how long were these subs? These were 4 minutes that I was shooting at, and again, I was about as long as I was going to go at that level of or that minimal amount of darkness that I had available to me. So you can already see at 1:30 in the morning, we're already getting fairly light out there. So I will choose this frame as my reference, and we're going to stack those up. You must check light frame. No. Let's check all the light frames. And we'll register those, and we're going to select the best 98% of them. So there might be 1 or 2 that we're going to lose out of here. We have 45 frames. And just make sure they all go in the right folder there, so I'm not searching around. There have been times I've saved this down and I don't know where they have run off to. Because some of these files, if I just that little bit of neglect, kind of don't notice what file they've output in, so I got to go searching for that. But it's also in part because I'm excited to see this final image. And so it's a 3-hour image, which is a little better than what we've kind of worked with in the past there. And I think because this was again I was shooting at f3, I believe, was my focal reducer that was on this telescope at the time. So it was better at catching all the processing that light that was coming through there. So hopefully we get a nice clean image that we can work with on here. I do want to, again, I'm constantly going to be doing this the whole night and for the next little while, and the whole time really, but thanking everybody who has contributed to the site, to this channel, by following, by just joining in on the chat. I'm not going to force anybody to be jumping in on the chat or anything like that, but if you definitely have a question, I'm always happy to try and answer them or provide some clarification, whether it is regarding astronomy or astrophotography and anything else really. Just happy to chat about anything. But I think one thing, On the video game side of chatting, the latest version of the game franchise Watch Dogs has been released, and it is all set in London. And I've seen a few people playing it. Mainly there's some streamers from Australia who've been playing the game, and they weren't quite sure where they were, and I was able to pipe in their chat and let them know, oh, take a left here. I know where you are, and that's kind of cool to see your city in a video game. And yeah, it's interesting. They're taking some of the action takes place in areas where I used to work, which is really cool. And yeah, definitely one of those games that I think that will probably be the next themed game that'll add to things on here. And we'll just have some fun touring around London. I think I'll even just go around London for a little sightseeing tour and see how much everything is well represented in that version of their version of London. So we'll see how that game pans out. But for right now, we are stacking the images of NGC 7000, the North American Nebula, and let me get some information on that. Now, I have shot a very wide field image of the North American Nebula, and that was basically the kind of like the most Cygnus constellation. And again, one of those, that image has been processed and reprocessed on my Instagram account, and I've provided some details on there as well. And that's loud. So the North American Nebula is an emission nebula in the constellation of Cygnus, close to the star Deneb. And Deneb has also been was one of those first stars that I had recorded a while ago, and I was able to image that with my very first telescope. And because it was a bright star, I was able to better able to image that it was a slower telescope I had before, so I had to really work at making any details come out of that image, which was again one of my first images I had processed, and it was something, but it wasn't anything to write home about. And I don't know if I actually had that posted online, but I think more just on my personal Facebook page, where I started testing the waters on things. But yeah, the North American, it's an emission nebula, so the filter that I was shooting with is the same narrowband filter that I've been using for many of these images, and we should be able to get some really good details out of this image that are going to come through there. And the size of this nebula in the sky covers an area of more than 4 times the size of a full moon, whereas you think of the Andromeda galaxy, it can cover the width of 6 full moons. So these are large structures in the night sky that otherwise are almost invisible to us from the ground without the aid of a telescope or a camera, like the camera that I use on here, which is the ASI 533 MC Pro, a cooled version of a dedicated astronomy camera. So the North American Nebula and the nearby Pelican Nebula are actually part of the same interstellar cloud. So kind of this area that blocks off, that kind of forms the Gulf of Mexico, is basically a dust cloud that's just kind of interfering with the light coming from this whole entire structure. So we're gonna take this image now into Photoshop and see if we can get some details to come out of this. And this would be the North American Nebula, which was, this was our 10-minute exposure that was done back in June. And as you can see, zoom in a little more there. There was this line. I don't think I can zoom in anymore on that, but you can kind of see this line just near the right of a satellite that had passed through the image there. And those are the kind of things that a faint thing like that can get processed out, pardon me, with the when you stack your images up, because it's going to average out those imperfections within the image, and basically that kind of gets written over by all the other information there. So that was our 10-minute exposure from back in June, and kind of long before this whole channel had started up. But we will be looking in Photoshop, and I don't need to know what's new. I know what's new. There's some great things that are new in Photoshop. We'll jump into Photoshop to start processing this image. And I believe it's one of them. So this will be kind of I made a little bit of a quick hit afterwards that I'm opening right now, which is this was the Heart Nebula that I'll be kind of, like I said, doing a bit of a quick hit on there. And let's see, let's get that to show up there. That is, which window is that? I know there's a little jiggery pokery that you got to do to get a window to show up in Photoshop on directly in OBS. And usually this kind of will pop up. Let's pick a different window there. Capture a specific window. Where are you? Now this is mildly annoying that this doesn't want to do its thing. Alright, let's see. That's that window. That window. Say yes. Now I never do things the easy way. That is for sure. Which unfortunately leads to mild, annoying where's that window there? And this is it's one of those things that it almost just comes down to a click and then it will appear. But it doesn't want to respond, and that is annoying because that is the whole purpose of what we're here to do tonight, is to look at these images. There we go. And of course Photoshop crashes, because that's what we do. That's how it works here with technology. Being a graphic designer, this kind of thing happens fairly often, and it's just the new version of Photoshop, and it shouldn't be doing this on me, but it wants to. So let's give that another go, and let's get that loaded up there. But this image actually that we have behind us here, this was the Gamma Cygni Nebula, which we had, not the exact one that we processed a few weeks ago, but this was kind of like my finished version of the image. And this is the one that took, this was multiple hours to produce this kind of detail. And this was such a bright area of the sky that it didn't take that long to get some details to come through there, because it was such a bright emission nebulae. Now let's let me get the image open here. This will be our image of the North American Nebula that we'll be working on, provided that that Photoshop wants to play ball here. I just want to welcome anybody who has come in on the channel, whether you are on Facebook or if you're on YouTube or you are here on Twitch. We are processing the North American Nebula, which is a large emission nebula located in the constellation of Cygnus. And there's lots of beautiful nebulae in this area, and this one is one of the more interesting areas, as it shares a striking resemblance to the continent of North America. And if everything kind of goes our way tonight, we will have a look at that. So that seems to be, let's see, let's stop responding. I should be responding there. Do we have it? We have it. All right. Stay stable. We want to see this image. Now this was also, it was taken with a different telescope as well. Same camera, but a different telescope with a much wider field of view. So it's going to process a little differently than a few of our previous images, which were taken with our 8-inch telescope, and that was shooting at about close to 1,000 millimeters. Whereas this one is a smaller telescope with only a 72 millimeter aperture and a focal length of about 270 some odd millimeters. I'd have to, let's see, I'll have to do the math on that to see what a focal reducer does to a 450 millimeter view. So this is a very, very wide field of view that we were using. So yeah, at about 270 millimeters was this focal length for this image. And yeah, because the telescope, this one, it's also at a lower focal ratio, so its images are even brighter on a smaller, while it is a smaller telescope in aperture, the focal ratio is much faster. So we'll see how this image turns out. And I do, I I don't have a collection of images on a certain area of this with the new 8-inch telescope. And this, unfortunately, this has kind of gone out of my field of view for the season. And it is a target that I won't be able to really revisit until next season, barring down two of my trees coming down with a case of falling down-itis. Will I be able to see this target again? I wonder if I could have two trees as an emote. The bane of my existence. Or my back garden's existence. We'll see. Yeah, so that is also the big thing. That is, if you've kind of just tuned in and you had to watch a commercial, which might be new to you, it's because I've reached the level of Twitch affiliate, where I'm able to monetize the channel and kind of offer up some fun emotes based on your level of subscription. Now, right now, I just have an emote for the tier 1, which is basically my logo, my face logo on there, and it was just kind of one thing I wanted to have up there just in case you don't know. But nobody has to be subscribing at the moment. It's definitely not a requirement for the site. However, I will kind of think of some ways to reward those who would be generous enough to kind of give up a little bit of their hard-earned money to support this channel. And support on this channel is basically coming in the way of improving the astrophotography gear that I have, and adding any bits of kit that are going to enable me to bring you better images of the night sky, or any equipment that's going to be able to let me image longer during the night. Like I said, the main thing is going to be a dew heater system for this, for my scopes. I did have a low budget dew heater for my smaller refractor. However, I couldn't control the heat on that. It was constantly on. It would just drain my my portable battery. So yeah, it was a little. It wasn't as efficient as I wanted it to be. So the system I'm looking at, it has controls that I can use from this laptop, and it will allow me to adjust the temperature as needed. So it's just one of those things that it seems like a little investment, but it just enables you to continue photographing throughout the whole night. You're not worrying about dew building up on the scope. So that is kind of the first level of a goal on this site. And any way that you want to be able to, if you're not a requirement that if you were to wanting to support the channel, it's either you can do a subscription, you can cheer bits. There is a donation button down below in the about section, and those are all secure transactions as well. And it's totally up to you. There's no pressure on this end. What we have right now is great for our short sessions, and that's fantastic. But for those of you who want to contribute in any way, that's fine. But we are currently imaging we are not imaging because there are clouds, or at least an unsavory amount of low clouds and a high. We have already basically reached the dew point of the night, so we wouldn't get much time imaging out there on the scope, unfortunately. So that's why we are here as a rainy day astronomy session. So the first course of what we want to do on this image is to get rid of any of just to crop in on the image a bit, because there are sections that move around, and that is because I dither the scope and just move it a tiny amount. And you can see just in the top right corner, just all those little jagged bits of the image there. And that's just from each frame that's moved randomly in a direction, and able to average out the noise that is inherent in any astro photo. And also you can notice that there is this kind of blur on the stars in the corners here, and that's because I was still too close to the no, sorry, I was too far. I was far away. I was too far away from the flattener, and you're either going to get images that are going to have zoomed in looking stars, or you're going to have this radial blur around these stars. So you really want to be able to keep up with that. Why is this doing that again? I cannot believe this. Are you seriously going to crash out on me again? Like, Virgin Media is going to get an earful tomorrow. Because ever since I changed this router. Are we back? Are we good? Right. Apologies for that. What I want to do is, like I said, crop in this image a little bit and get rid of those little corners and vignetting that would occur. So it doesn't have to be too much, because being at a wider focal length. Actually, I'll bring it in a bit because those stars are rounded in the corners there. Sick. Affiliated. Yes, Putsy. So, sorry you had to watch an advertisement now before you got into the stream there. It's, I appreciate the help that you've given with some raids. So, always appreciate that so much. And yeah, here we are, and reach the goal of what we wanted to do. No, you didn't help out one bit. No, that's fine. You're just a fanboy. But I appreciate the shout outs that Putsy's giving me on his channel. He doesn't have to. And you didn't receive any ads. Okay, maybe it's I don't know. That's fine. Fine, don't give me money. I'll run an ad right now. No, I will not. I've noticed that too, though. I've gone into random channels and haven't encountered an ad, so maybe it is just dependent on what you've watched previously. That's fine. Yeah, I'm expecting that mad advertisement money to come in. All those pennies. It is not about the money at all. It seriously isn't. This is about me showing you guys the stars and bringing images that you normally wouldn't be able to see from your back garden, from your driveway, from your local park, or even just kind of sitting on your couch. And that's totally fine if you don't regularly look up at the sky. But I think there is just that little inherent curiosity that everybody has, that you can't help but look up at a full moon, which we are having right now on a Halloween, which is a blue moon. So that's the first time, or that is the next time we're going to have another full moon on Halloween is 2039. So mark your calendars for the next full moon on Halloween, and hopefully we'll be in a better position to have a more spooky evening. So what are we doing right now? We are processing an image that I took back in June. And it is this section of the night sky. This was a single exposure that was done, and I'm going to be working on a stacked image, which is about 3 hours worth of exposure. So we're going to get hopefully a whole lot more detail in the image coming up than we do in this one. So that is the North American nebula. So even if you look at it, tilt your head there, you can see the what is the Gulf of Mexico area, where you would find Florida as the little handle on there. So that is kind of what we're looking to see in this image there, and maybe pull out some more details. And as long as everything holds up, I've had internet issues this whole stream, and it's very annoying. But soldier on with this, because I want to be able to get this image out and just bring some details in there. So I've hit a button and nothing happened because I was on the wrong window. So I've cropped in the image and just want to adjust the levels a tiny bit and just kind of make it a little darker there. And back after you've driven to the market. All right. It's early where you are. You did all nighter, didn't you? I'm looking at the chat. This is on I talk to address the camera, not the chat on the side here. Actually, I should. 5 a.m. market run. Yeah, when we went to the market, I can't remember what time we went. When we were visiting Singapore. Probably, it was a guided thing, so I think we got there at about 8 in the morning from where we were. All right, it's cool, man. We'll see you later, Putsy. Now, with this image, it is at a 32 bits, and there's not a lot of options you can do on 32 bits. So you do have to drop it down to 16 bits, and it opens up more options for us to bring up the details. And I always go with exposure and gamma, because really, but this doesn't change visually. It doesn't change anything that you're seeing in the image. It'll change a few things in the background, but you're able to have some more options of changing your curves adjustment, change your levels of vibrance, just more details, more options that are going to bring out better details in our image there. So I'm going to kind of work off of a bit of the same workflow that we've been doing for the previous images, and maybe that might give us some we'll see how these stars turn out, because that is the main thing, is I don't want these stars to get all massive and bloated. Because that changes things up too much. So these are some default presets. Where'd they go? Curves adjustment. I think I'm gonna have to load these back in there. Right, now where did these go? All right, give me 2 seconds. I just need to put these curves adjustment. It didn't. That was one of the things that did not transfer over when I upgraded to the new version of Photoshop. So, pardon me on that. Again, gosh, one of these things that just you don't want it to happen. And that's just another thing for the next time, is when you upgrade, make sure that all your presets are actually there. And What is this path? Ready to go. Right. Just 1 second. Boy, this is just one of those nights where you want things to go as smoothly as possible, and then you just don't. But hey, that's what happens. And you get to see some troubleshooting live. Well, I guess you don't really get to see troubleshooting because these screens are hidden. So let's look at how ugly the sky is at the moment, where it's just not favorable right now. And if you could really see how much dew is already covering that scope there, we would definitely know how annoying things are with the weather being against you. And Monday, while it does look to be look like a clear night, it is, like I said, it's going to be probably about 25 mile an hour sustained winds. So it's not the best for astrophotography, but we'll see if we can make it work and maybe do some shorter images on things, and we'll be able to capture some, maybe find some really bright targets. And actually, what might actually be possible is looking at the moon, because it'll still be at probably just about 92%, and well, that's James Vade subscribing. Thank you so much. Subscribed at tier 1. I appreciate that so much. You're the wow. Thank you. This is our first night as a Twitch affiliate, and yeah, James Vade coming in at the first tier 1 subscriber. And right now the options are a little limited, and I am definitely working on bringing some more perks for the tier subscribers, and these kinds of things are going to go towards improving the telescope system and being able to bring better images to you guys in the future. So yeah, James Vade, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. And yeah, welcome to this is the observatory. We I gotta find another name for the higher subscribers on here. Associate to the observatory, maybe. We'll see on that there. But yeah, thank you so much for your subscription. I appreciate that immensely. And words can only go so far. But yeah, thank you so much. Where was I? I was attempting to get my presets, my curves in there, and we are coming back to I also want to change that emoticon. I thought I changed up my notification on there, but anyway, we'll get that sorted. Like I said, I've been trying to wrap my head around a lot of this information today, and being able to work on this whole channel. And after becoming a Twitch affiliate, which is all thanks in part to everybody who has joined in on the conversation, joined in on the live streams, and just able to reach that accolade at such a, I feel like a very quick, a very short amount of time. And for those, it's mainly been the astronomy and the astrophotography element of everything that I'm hoping is drawing people and keeping people here. Because just looking up at the night sky and being able to see some new objects that you may not have seen before, it's just incredible to see what's up there. I'm always amazed at what comes out of the other end of the camera there when I'm shooting an object, and sometimes you don't know exactly what to expect, because you can look at an image that's processed in magazines or shared online, and you just don't get that sense of what it is we're looking at. And it's I've lost my words at the moment. The curves aren't there. All right. Here we go. There we go. There they are. Let's load those in. James Vade, I'm new to astrophotography. Almost everything I've learned has been from free resources. I just thought I'd pay it forward. Also, the time difference is awesome coming from the States. Watching this during the day and then shooting at night. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's everything. I appreciate you paying it forward, man. And yeah, again, saying thanks just doesn't seem like it's enough for those who are contributing to what I love, and hopefully that I can express that as well as I feel I want to. Yeah, it's free resources are fantastic for everything. That's basically what I tried to find out, was as much as possible. And I think there are, like, the deeper you kind of get into this, you know, spending some money on some resources doesn't seem like that much of a waste when you know that you're putting them towards bringing a better image, or upgrading any bit of equipment, and just kind of gaining your knowledge base. So yeah, it's you know, we are, I guess after tonight, when the clocks go back widely in North America, I'll be 5 hours ahead from the East Coast of at least in North America. So we'll have some darker skies coming up. Like I said earlier on, that we have some clear skies forecast for most of the week next week, with a little bit of high winds on Monday. But the rest of the week is looking, right now, skies are nice and clear, calm winds. And yeah, we'd definitely be able to look at more objects in the sky. And yeah, just chatting in general about astrophotography. But how long have you been in astrophotography? Bubba Zellick, am I on? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It is enough. Hell, the look on your face is worth a few bucks. Thanks. Unfortunately, I'm off to work, but keep shooting and enjoying it. Well, James Bay, thank you so much. I appreciate that immensely, and hopefully we'll see you back for some more chat about astrophotography. And yeah, enjoy your shift. Stay safe out there. And 3 months. Wow, there is a lot to learn, and I'm happy to share any experiences and answer as many questions as possible that you'll have. So yeah, that's now any purchase you're going to make is going to be countered towards, will that buy some more photography gear. Do I need new socks or do I need a dew heater? Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thank you so much for the subscription, James. And yeah, have a good night, man. And take care. So that's James Vade, our first subscriber, our first associate in the observatory. And yeah, it's that's a weird kind of feeling that people are investing on things. Yeah, it's subscribing is not a, it's not a prerequisite for the site, but any subscriptions, any donations that come through are going to be put towards astrophotography gear. To a lesser extent, if there's something I might want to do to improve the stream, but that in a way it isn't bringing you guys what I want to show you. I think it's not going to be incredibly dire that I improve any lighting in here right now. My camera, I'm happy with that. That's doing its job. So everything is going to be astrophotography related. Anything that's going to help us image longer, help us capture brighter, dimmer images. And yeah, just to improve this as much as we can. So Ma will buy you socks. Thanks. I do have socks. It's okay. I will. Not every single purchase is weighed against astrophotography, but yeah, that's. Right. Let's. I think I have to keep loading in some of these curves. I don't know why. I can only do one at a time. It's a weird thing that it's not. So we're going to those are in there. So this is going to kind of get progressively brighter and brighter at the moment, but that's not our, pardon me, our all the changes that we're doing on here. For some reason I can only load these in one at a time. And it also probably, they would show up, I think, if I maybe reset Photoshop, but however how the night has gone, I am not going to be doing that. So like I said, it doesn't look like I have to be too aggressive on things. I think just this level is going to be fine on this image. So we are imaging we're processing an image of the North American Nebula, which is one of those objects in the sky that was like the first target I wanted to go after. And using my first telescope, it was not the scope for this job. I had an image that I said was the North American Nebula, and chances are I may not have actually really been on these stars. I've been trying to figure out where that image was, where in the sky that image was actually looking at, but it's so full of noise that it's hard to pick out what are stars and what's noise for a plate solving problem. I'm gonna make dinner. I'll be right back. All right, Bubba. We'll see you soon. We'll still be here. Now I said at about 10:30. That's about an hour. I was going to be doing some Phasmophobia. Video games are not going to be the priority. If we're still going with this, I'm going to keep going on processing these two images. And like I said, it's Halloween, and everybody's going to try to be celebrating it as much or as safely as possible, I hope. And the area that I'm in, we never really had anybody coming by, unfortunately. And Halloween has been one of my favorite events of the year, and I would always decorate the house. And now that Bubba Zelnick has gone to make her dinner, I would always dig up her lawn and just make a general mess of the front yard, adding some tombstones and all sorts of Halloween decorations, and generally ruining our yard for the next month leading up to winter when there's no chance for it to recover. And yeah, it's Halloween unfortunately suffers this year, but hopefully through any sacrifices that we are making, that next Halloween it's going to be one of the best Halloweens ever. Um, we've just been kind of put into, we'll be going back into a nationwide lockdown in the UK come Thursday. Not as strict as what they had at the beginning, but there are a lot of restrictions that are going to be coming in. So um, I am going to count myself fortunate that I'm able to do this and stay at home, and yeah, just generally be able to have with almost no commute. I have staying up until 1-2 in the morning. It's not too bad. Another lockdown, yes, in the UK. It's they basically figured that to try to make any semblance of what Christmas is going to be like in December, to maybe have some families be able to get together. Yeah, they've implemented some more restrictions, some much more harsher restrictions, but still a little leeway on things. But we'll see how that goes, and hopefully that kind of helps pad things out, and everybody can be a little safer for now. Back to space. We're so I see why these. If I was sitting here not talking to anybody, I'd already have this image done. But because I'm able to verbalize, to have a, I don't have an inner monologue right now. I'll waffle on about a few things here and there. But even with just this little bit of stretching of the image, I'm already. I don't know if you can see it well on your screens there. However, I can start to see the Cygnus wall already kind of coming into view. So I'm very actually. I didn't even see how long this exposure was. So okay, I lost one frame out of the whole lot that we processed. I can actually close that and start saving some save changes. Save some computer power. Now, yeah, this was 2 hours and 56 minutes. So I only lost one frame. And let's say that there was a giant satellite that went through and I got Starlinked. This is actually about the time when when one of the latest launches had happened. And luckily it looks like there wasn't any big impacts on this area of the night sky while I was imaging. So let's see. Pardon me. Sorry, just adjusting things. That's not working. All right. So you can already see more stars as you left. Have you had this running on your phone while you were driving? And not that I don't appreciate that, but no, I do. I appreciate that commitment. All right, keep it low key. We don't want you getting a ticket or anything like that, dude. Yeah, as soon as you kind of pull out of the city, it's almost an immediate change. As soon as you can get far enough away from that glare, like even I'll use the example of I'm in my kitchen studio, and if I have the lights on and I look outside to see what the weather is, it's kind of difficult to see. But as soon as I'll step away from the door into my back garden and I don't have this glare of the light, the night, the sky comes into view. So that's a quick example of how when you get away from light pollution, just how much more of the sky you're able to see without any more light impeding your vision. Now, generally, if you are kind of doing any stargazing, you do want to let your eyes adjust to the dark for about 20-25 minutes and keep any white light away. So like light from your mobile phone, a white flashlight is going to immediately degrade your night vision, and you almost got to start again to let your eyes get used to the dark again. So when I'm outside, I'll combat that by just using a red light, because that doesn't really affect your night vision. But if you have like red LEDs, don't look at them, because while it is just a red light, they're still bright on their own, and that can muck up your night vision a little bit. But in a broad sense of the wavelength of the red light, it's best for when you are trying to find your way around out in the dark, or if you're in a area with no lights. Yeah, well, there you go. There's your new fact of the day. That's it. We have a new fact of the day. We've had our first subscriber already, and this is a pretty successful stream so far. Yeah, it's a new world, a new adventure for me, and this is going to be this is going to have some. It's going to be some. I don't want to say hard work, but it's going to be some focused work. First sub was from James Vade, a astrophotographer of about 3 months, who is excited to learn as much as he can about astrophotography. And I thanked him immensely, and I'm probably going to be thanking him for quite a while of being the first one. And it's just a little humbling that someone else is going to want to, throw a little cash my way, and show their appreciation. And again, that's not a requirement of this whole site, of this whole channel. But yeah, it's just a feeling of satisfaction, I guess. That's in no way meant to feel or meant to come off as a selfish thing at all. Just because it doesn't so much benefit me, but it will help me benefit you. So, sick poggers. I still don't know what poggers is. I looked it up, and all it came up back was an image of Peppy the Frog. So, it might be a little out of touch with the internet. Weirdly enough, it's more expensive to sub on my phone than on PC. Interesting. That's weird. I don't know what to say about that. Right, so we have done an initial curves on this image, and I am on the curves mask right now, so we don't need that. All right, so I'm going to do a levels adjustment there. And in this way, how you kind of see those up above there. Yeah, poggers is a Twitch thing. All right, well, if I'm on Twitch, start getting used to the term poggers if more people are going to be using that. Yeah, so these levels up here, I'm taking a bit of a different approach on this. And what I'm able to do is adjust these levels, and I'm not destroying the image behind, so that is still if I turn off those layers by poking out the eyeballs, I'm able to still see those changes there. Are all your photos taken raw? Yes, they are. They start off as raw images, and those are actually they're FITS files for the camera that I use, and those are so FITS is flexible imaging transport software, or let me get that definition now, because that type of file is flexible image transport system. So those type of images, basically you're having there's no data compression, and it's generally used for using for scientific calculations. The cameras I'm using are not totally fit for that kind of thing. Yeah, totally lossless. You're getting the exact data that's captured out of there without any compression whatsoever for a FITS image. And when CCD cameras are imaging at monochrome, with monochrome images, and you're getting basically the purest kind of data that you can out of there, those files are able to be studied and just properly scrutinized. Whereas while I am shooting a FITS image on here, I'm shooting in color, so there's still got to be some interpolation that has to happen with the image there. So that for me, and again, my goal on this isn't scientific images, but just to bring you some great color images of the night sky as quickly as possible. And if you've been watching for the last hour and a bit, it's been quite a while to bring this image to this point. So it's that's why when I'm doing live astrophotography, we get those quicker images. Where here, there's a little more faffing about going on, but I'm also happy to answer any questions and just go on about astronomy and astrophotography. So you're seeing blue stars now. You're starting to get some color out where you are. That is you being near the equator. You kind of have you get a bit of a view of both northern and southern constellations that are largely unavailable to me. Actually, as I was flying back from Malaysia, I was able to see the Southern Cross, which was, as soon as I looked out the window, I let out a bit of an audible gasp, and I don't know if that might have freaked out some people around me, but I was doing my best to try and get any kind of image of that area of the night sky with my phone, dealing with the plane shaking a little bit and just the triple reflections that you would get through looking through the window. And yeah, they wouldn't turn off the cabin lights entirely for me, so I wouldn't have any glare. A little inconsiderate of them, but I was able to get some kind of an image out of there, and that is on my Instagram channel. And if I I don't know did I do it? Does this work? No. All right. I'm also getting used to adding the these chat commands to maybe. I think the only one I got working was lurk. So, yeah. I'm whatever's in Stream Elements. That's the, yeah. There are some things that I thought I had changed and didn't seem like it saved. I still have to, because there's, after getting the affiliate level, there was so much to try and unpack, and I didn't know what to prioritize upon at the moment. So I think all I got was my I don't know if the emote even comes up on here. I don't even know if that's available at the moment. But yeah, there's with no real stream going tomorrow, I'll have most of the day to kind of really get into all this stuff. If you ever need help with Stream Elements or OBS things, let me know. Yeah, definitely we'll be conferring with you on some of these things, because you know you got some cool things going on your site there, and you already have your cute little putsy emote. Now I need to make one for Astro Canuck. I mean, right now what I thought I had as one of the tier emotes was the was my head. I don't know if I have that. I mean, it should be available to me. Doesn't look like it. I don't know if there's a review process, or I have to wait 60 days until I can actually have proper emotes. Oh well, we'll find that out. We'll figure that out. Well, I kind of put one emote on there, and yeah, not quite sure how that goes, but hey, we'll see how that is. So those of you who are watching on Facebook and those of you who are watching on YouTube, the main chat that's coming down the bottom here is from Twitch. So if you are watching on there, you can still feel free to send a message. I will see those messages pop up if you have any questions if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. But if you do want to kind of join in on the local chat here, you can hop on over to Twitch, and I'm more than happy to have you join the observatory. And we are attempting to process the North American Nebula, which is going fairly slow, but at the same time, I'm happy to converse with things. And if you're all happy to listen and join along, that's fantastic. And okay, well, I know there was so you got super lucky, and Twitch allowed you to upload emotes instantly without any type of approval. So Pog, there's that word again, Pog. See, whenever I see Pog, I'm thinking about Pogs, the whole milk cap game that was wildly and irresponsibly popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. So all I can think of is slammers. Let's see. Sorry, just getting. Sorry, just one of our friends, Rosine from Astrophotography, just kind of checking in on things there. Maybe he'll jump on Twitch. Who knows? Usually Twitch approves emotes in 2 to 3 days. Just a heads up. All right. Well, I did see there was one thing for, it doesn't matter. Some people are kind of getting a peek behind the curtain, that you have to be streaming for like 60 days as an affiliate for kind of one of those instant approvals, or to, without any scrutiny, they'll let you post some images as long as you're following their guidelines there. So that might just be that I have to wait a little bit for those to come through. So yeah, definitely those who are you're thinking of subscribing. I do have plans for making things a little more interesting on here, and that'll be developing as the next few days, next couple of weeks. We'll kind of get everything dialed in there, and pardon me, we'll just make this a fun place to be, and it's it's an overall chilled atmosphere, as you can tell. But again, Virgin Media is getting a bloody earful. All right, I'm going to close this. Let's end the ASI air, and hopefully we're all good. Just got to reload that. All right, let's cancel that, because everything seemed to come back into play after I close this all down. You don't need to get any images off of the ASI air, and I'm mumbling to myself. I think I just heard someone knock at the door. That was mildly creepy. I think it would have been creepier if I was playing Phasmo. I don't know if my lights are on. Sorry. No, the lights are off. Just gonna keep an ear on things. Right. That was kind of creepy. Not creepy. Well, I mean, it's not creepy. It's Halloween. But I think that was like the first trick-or-treater who's ever knocked on the door before. Oh, man. I think also playing a lot of Phasmophobia has kind of kept me on edge a little bit. So. No, that's not what I want to do. Close that. No, you're done. Sorry, just reorganizing internet problems, and I apologize for that, for those bumps along there. So, let's get back to the North American Nebula. After we're done with worrying about trick-or-treaters and things like that. Which, if I did have any candy, it would all be in here. So right, let's start to get some details out of this image. Now I'm going to merge this all down, so I am working with the the stretched image, and I'm going to use this image as my base to kind of do the permanent changes on things there, because there is some adjustments to the levels. I'm really going to have to I'm going to see, let me try one more curves adjustment. And we will, so I think actually I'm losing some data now with not doing a as nice and red as that is, unfortunately it's too red, and I'm gonna this is where you go back a couple of steps and try and recover some of that data, because if you could see this histogram, my reds are just taking over with everything, so not able to get a great color balance in here at the moment. So going to take a step backwards on here, cancel that, and really just go down to the stamp back to where we came off from that time, and I will, let's balance this out now. It's a little better, but I think there's still too much red. I'm not actually getting many of the colors that I know I can get out of here. So let's have a look at it. I'm going to keep those on standby. I'm going to copy this layer. I'm going to throw this one out because I know that is not what we want to do. What is all the red? All that red that we just saw in this section here was the North American Nebula. However, it was a little too the color balance wasn't there. I'd gone a little too aggressive on things when I was adjusting the levels in this image. So I'm hoping to get a better adjustment here. And that looks like it's already looking better, because you can see the you can start to see a bit of the red nebula coming out there. However, it is the darker, the bit of that dust lane that I picked out on there, and you can see some white stars, you can see some blue, you can see some red. So let's use this as our next step on things. And that was all right, like I said, we'll keep those two. Actually, no, those end up being, we'll get rid of those layers. A lot of trial and error that comes with these images. And, you know, there's always something that I want to try out on an image. And there is a lot of back and forth, and the time that's taken to process this image has come from just, you know, rambling on about things and just kind of reiterating where we're at with the channel. And like I said, we're at we've reached affiliate, and where it's now we can offer subscriptions to the channel, where I will be working on some tier rewards for those who are subscribing. And once I kind of get things a little more streamlined, we'll iron those details out, and we'll figure out what that's going to be. And I think one of the options for one of the tier levels will be that you pick the entire night. You know, you let me know what objects we're going to do, and we'll get those together. And maybe, I don't know, we'll see a tier 3 sub. Maybe that's you pick a target and I will do a proper photograph of that area and send you a printout. Maybe that's one of the options there. Well, that'll be what I can do to kind of fulfill your wonder of the night sky and get you, an original print from my telescope to your picture frame, poster. I don't know. We'll see. We'll iron all this stuff out. This is the very first day that I've reached this milestone, so there's a lot of ideas kind of running through my head, and hopefully we can bring something together that's really interesting and just going to be able to all right, I think it's going to be something that's really interesting and something that we're able to enjoy as a group, essentially. Here in the observatory, which is not a physical actual observatory, but I think you can still get observatory status if you're, I think you have to have a solid pier mounted telescope though, so you can have better measurements for astrometry. Yeah, so in the grand sense of things, we are the observatory, and coming to you from the east of Essex in UK. And if the weather was much nicer, we'd definitely be imaging the area of the night sky, and probably actually the way how it would probably be imaging the full moon, because that is right in the way of the scope. And I don't have the camera positioned in its usual spot at the moment, because everything is all covered up out there and I don't have access to my plugs. And so this is just the alternate telescope cam angle, where you can see the wonderful tree that blocks my view. It is a permanent structure in the garden, which is, I wouldn't cut this tree down, because also in the summertime it blossoms and it's full of bees, and I wouldn't want to take that away from them. And also in the summer it's full of spiders, and I would kind of like to take that away from them. But I want to be friendly to the bees as well. So, and it creates a nice hum early in the morning when you're out there. I'm not touching the trees. I am not touching the trees. They're staying right where they are. I really don't think they're going to fall down at all randomly. I think they're nice and strong. Well, let's change camera angle, shall we? And return to the North America Nebula, where we are getting some better color levels on here. We're bringing that data right in. There's absolutely nothing along this line that's going to be taken away. We need the bees and the trees for oxygen. Yeah, they both serve a purpose. So yeah, I'm not gonna. If I was ever to cut a tree down, I'd definitely replace it with another one in another area in someone else's garden without a telescope. Alright, so we will do one more of these curves adjustments. And you're really starting to see the details come out in the nebula there. I think this one might be as aggressive as I want to go. Let me try one level down. One more. I think this one might be too high. That's probably going to be too high. Let's stick with that amount. So yeah, we're definitely now seeing a better image. Let's see. Right, if I rotate it this way, you can kind of get a better feel for the orientation of this is of the continent of North America. So we're it's not the angle that I initially imaged it at, but we'll stick with that because you're just better. You can see it better in your head there. Astropharsography, yo, what's up? Razine, how you doing, man? Good to see you coming by here. We are clouded out. We are clouded out, and we have already reached the dew point. So there is definitely no. Well, also we have the full moon staring right down the barrel of our scope if we were looking out to the east. So there's very little chance of any astrophotography tonight. But I'm just processing a earlier version of the North American nebula that I shot back in June, which was one of the more longer evenings that I had. We're at about 3 hours worth of exposures on this one. And there's still some changes I'd like to do. I think it's still, the colors I thought were a little, they're still on the red side. So yeah, yeah, old data, we know that so well. It's whenever there's clouds, there's always tons of old data that we can go through. There's pretty much no short. Even from the first lockdown back in April, I still have data on there that I haven't actually looked through properly and given a fair shake. So yeah, it's this was one of the earlier images with the ASI 533 and the Skywatcher 72 ED with my Lightwave 0.6 reducer. So it's a nice wide image on there. It's a cool moon here too. Yeah, we have a blue moon. So the blue moon is we got 2 full moons in a month, in a calendar month. And the next time we're going to have a full moon on Halloween is going to be 2039. So, as I said, mark your Google calendars for that one there. That'll be the next spookiest Halloween. We kind of got mildly robbed on this evening. However, I did also, for those of you who may have been in about 15 minutes ago, we had a trick-or-treater at the door, as best I could tell, because who else knocks on my door at 9:45 in the evening? And also, had I been playing Phasmophobia, it definitely would have been a different type of reaction than me just having a quick look back. We would have been may have had on the BRB screen for a minute. I absolutely love how much in astronomy we can predict the schedule, like knowing when the next Halloween blue moon. It's one of those things where, and people for some reason just look to you for it. And we actually had a staff quiz the other day at work, and one of the questions was, when is the next full moon on Halloween? And I gave them both answers because why else would we know this? So yeah, it's one of those things. Wish my laptop could run fast. It looks terrifying and absolutely interesting. Yes, it is. I think people say it's not scary, and I don't think they're enjoying the game the right way. They are having fun wrong. it's yeah, it's one of those games where it's just fun to get immersed in it and let yourself be frightened. Otherwise, what's the point of that? You know, if you go into a horror movie and treat it like a comedy, then go see a comedy. Then, like, you know, or do you go to a stand-up comedian and scream at the top of your lungs with fear? You know, it's a little controversial. Modern horror movies are kind of comedic. I think it's tough to get it right. It's yeah, tough to get horror right, and I think there are some movies that really they can ramp things up, and it's freaky, and then all of a sudden you get to the crux of it all, and it's like, oh, it was the janitor all along, you know. Too many of these serious movies have a Scooby-Doo element to them, and it's just a bit of a letdown. But yeah, Phasmo's fun. If I can actually finish processing this image, I will be playing that a little later. But this is my priority, to be bringing images of the night sky to our screens. And yeah, I think that was, bringing out way too much red in there. So I need to cancel that triangle, but at least you can start to see the whole structure of this nebula, and it's really interesting. Again, one of those really interesting parts of the night sky, and this section here, the Cygnus wall, is kind of a coveted area that we like to photograph, and it's just I'm pretty sure that, again, just the way I've maybe stacked this image or processed it like early on, that I'm getting more reds than anything, because usually you can start to pull out a little bit of lighter colors in here, because this was what we kind of started with, and here's where we're at right now. But yeah, I'm going to run. I see. Last time I ran another process on here, it took way too long, and it should have been one of those things that I started right at the beginning. So I'm going to just do some processes, some actions on here that are should be fairly quick, and stop. Right. Now that happened because I was on the wrong window. No. Let's try that again. There's always those little details that... See, Photoshop, again, reiterate this time in and time out, doesn't work out well for processing through OBS, and it could be, if I can get back into using PixInsight, because by now the time I've spent away from the program PixInsight, I've forgotten almost everything about it, unfortunately. And I think it's a fantastic program, and I could probably net some better colors right away using that program. However, that's going to require another weekend of refreshing my memory on things there. So let's make sure I have my right layer selected so it knows what to do, and we'll run that. Process. And it resizes my window again. We'll let that do its thing for a second there while that's resizing my window on me. It might bring it back to the right size once it's done, and no, it didn't. Let's resize that. Yeah, so to be able to actually get a view of what I'm doing, I have to make a new window, and it resizes itself every time something happens there. So just by running that that little script, that was called local contrast enhancement, and what you can, it's a fairly noticeable change. But what it's doing is it's running through a few actions that is basically kind of making things nice and a little more crisp around there, so it's not as soft. So I'm just kind of switching back and forth there a couple of times. And that just adds a little more definition between everything. It just adds that little punch of contrast. And again, there are some other actions on here that take a little longer, and other ones that are almost destructive to the stars a bit. But let's see if I can do it. We'll make it do one pass of that there, and we'll make the stars smaller. And when you do that with when you're making the stars smaller on here, you're kind of bringing up more details within the nebula, because you're not having those bright points of light impeding on your image there. But I'm also left with sometimes these tiny black halos around the stars. But you can just see, again, it's a little tiny change, where it's kind of just that little reduction. There are some manual steps that you can do to reduce the star size, but for the sake of how long I've been rambling on for, I'm going to do these little shorter changes to the area, and you just see that you can the nebula itself is a little more visible, so you're just able to see, you're not focusing so much on the stars. And I think if I really if I do too many instances of this star reduction through this program, you start to get these black halos around the star, and it kind of throws everything apart, and I got to work a little harder to bring that back there. Third Rock Astronomy, what's up, man? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you in here. We're just doing some rainy day astronomy right now, because all the clouds and the dew point has raised up to a level that is unsavory for any amount of photography, and the full moon is staring right down the barrel of the telescope. So we are processing the North American Nebula right now. Usually would be a quick kind of process. However, there's just been some conversation going on, and just had someone hack my stuff and stole over $2,000 from me. Holy potatoes. That's not good. That's man, that's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that, man. What account was that through? Yeah, that's rough 2 days. And definitely, man. That's sorry to hear that. That's more. Hopefully, you're able to recover that and have some protection from your bank there. Right. So it wasn't a overall bad night for things, so I don't really have a massive gradient on this this image, at least. I think it's all fairly uniform. But I will want to do some finer adjustments at the moment. Let's see if I can bring it up. Select that layer there. Do a level check. It's just, yeah, it's the reds are all over the place in this one. I think it probably comes from how I stacked this image in the beginning there. But if I look at the at the channels here, so we can get a good idea of what this whole nebula is made up of. This is our blue channel, and that it was mainly going to be picking up the hydrogen beta, which there isn't a large abundance of that in this nebula. And we have our oxygen 3 end of the filter, which would be usually in the green, and then our wonderful hydrogen alpha, where basically all the detail in this nebula lives. And this is a great area to kind of use, or a great point in the image to actually start using this as to build up our luminance layer. And well, it's more what kind of gets picked up in the, is what's kind of what you get assigned to on the sensor there. But if it is more in the blue, then that's our O3 and hydrogen beta that's being picked up on that end, which there obviously isn't much of in there. What I've also noticed that even if you kind of going in farther on the greens, yeah, that's still that green layer does usually tend to be the smoother, less noisy area on the camera there. But let's create a new. As long as this doesn't all fall apart. Now, if this all this all kind of falls apart, then right. So it is okay. So it is in the blue area of things. Sorry, so correct, it is in the same part of the visible spectrum, but not all targets have a strong H-beta emission to them. Horsehead, cocoon, crescent, etc. are some rich hydrogen beta targets. Yeah, so that's with the cocoon, the crescent nebula. You kind of get that that bluish kind of envelope outside, that faint little ghostly wrap around the crescent itself, and also being able to capture the silt bubble nebula. That's for me, from my images, I haven't been able to get any good data from that little section of the sky. So I think that it probably lends itself well if you're using monochrome cameras and you're able to get that stronger signal from that area, whereas using the one-shot color cameras, you can be a little limited on things. So with my Itis NB103 and H beta are the same, or the blue channel, and HA and N3 are in the red. Do you pixel math your red channel and blue channel to create a new green channel? I do not. A lot of the images that I'm doing is just kind of out of the camera through Deep Sky Stacker, and run it through either Photoshop or previously PixInsight until I forgot how to use it. So I have to retrain myself on that. And also recently, in the past few months, it has been just taking the single shot images, and I haven't done a whole lot of deep processing. I think the last one I really did was where are we? Yeah, PixInsight. I think PixInsight is fantastic compared to Photoshop. Most definitely, and yeah, their interface is not intuitive in any way, shape, or form. So you kind of got to build your own workflow there. And we have lost our our window. Let me see if I can get that back there. And I also think that processing in PixInsight is a little more user-friendly to OBS. In 2 seconds, let me try to get this window back. Who knows, this might crash it. And then we lose everything. Well, it's done it again. Maybe if let's jump over to scope. And let's jump back. So Paul, the astrophotography guy from the Netherlands, where you met me the other day, has tons of tutorials on YouTube for PixInsight, and he's the one that taught me. So yeah, I wonder if he was the one that I had originally seen as well online. I have to check, but no, I'll definitely check his stuff out, and if that kind of works out, I will definitely jump back into PixInsight for sure, because the experience I had with it early on was fantastic. I thought I got better colors out of my Rosette Nebula than I did through Photoshop, and that may have just been, like I said, because their program is designed for astrophotography, whereas Photoshop, you're bending Photoshop to your will. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, send that link. I mean, also, for the most part, anything astrophotography related on here, that we'll free to post that up as well, because anyone else who might be interested in things, I'm happy to share any kind of resources, any information on here, just so we can all maybe find someone new. It doesn't always. Everybody's going to have their own view and their own way to process things. Alright, let me get back to Photoshop and see if I can get this window back. And it was largely an annoyance early on in the stream there, and it came back, and now for some reason it left. Lucy Grave, welcome to the observatory. Thank you very much for your follow. We are attempting to process some astrophotography from the previous night. And yeah, we're having a bit of an issue with Photoshop at the moment, and I am worried about this. Well, appreciate the follow from her. It's yeah, your wife. He hasn't made you a scope widow, has he? I think actually after I got the ASI Air, I fell back into favor with the missus, so I wasn't always outside in the back garden. I was at least inside on the sofa next to her. We would be watching a movie or something like that. I would one eye on the movie, one eye on the air. But thank you very much for your follow. I appreciate that so much. And yeah, for those of you who may have noticed, a little bit of a change to the only because I have to work, so I don't get to spend as much time with it as well. Oh. it's one of those things there. So yeah, the kind of the big change that we have on the site or on this channel right now is that I have reached the level of Twitch affiliate, and thanks to everybody who has joined in and followed and jumped in who stayed with me on the channel for so long and able to kind of help me reach those requirements that we need to be able to kind of monetize this channel right now. So I'm very happy, very, very happy that we were able to reach that in what I feel is was much quicker than I thought was actually gonna happen there. I had no idea how this thing was gonna go. So yeah, just sorry. Yeah, I had the notification this morning that we reached this level, and yeah, it's a new adventure, a new thing to focus on, and yeah, definitely there's a learning curve with this and getting just kind of used to all the ins and outs of becoming an affiliate and working on what I can do to give back to those who have been kind enough to subscribe. And I've already had a first subscription tonight, which was kind of crazy to me. So yeah, again, yeah, just some new things that are going on, and looking forward to what's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. So we'll kind of try and keep things moving on from there. For me, it's more of I don't sleep well anyway due to my back and neck damage. At least being productive late. So far, the Astro community has been troll free. Yeah, I mean, if you're awake during the night, astronomy, astrophotography is kind of the perfect thing to get involved with there. Yeah, I think anywhere that I've seen an astro related community, everybody is just incredibly welcoming, and we all know what we may have some different goals, but we're all here for the same thing. And for what we're here for tonight is being impeded by Photoshop not wanting to respond. And like I said, I think that work now. Photoshop has been taking the mickey the whole night now. Let's see if that works. Aha! No aha. Okay. With us, it's a mutual love for it. So I'm not mad about it so much as I don't have time for it. But hopefully it's clear here. I'd love to be able to image Cassiopeia again. Also, I don't do cold very well, so there's that as well. Yeah, I think being able to, I guess for what I'm doing is being able to image from inside the house is great. Although, if I'm focusing on a very narrow area of the night sky, I feel like there is a lot that I'm missing out on of what could be happening around there, and especially when we're at the height of a meteor shower. I do like to be out there with the scope while I'm imaging, even if it is remotely with the ASI Air. Yeah, just happy to kind of sit out under the stars while the scope's doing its thing. Before it was more of a necessity when I would have my laptop outside, but as the tree kept dropping little sticky bits of berries or whatever kind of fruit it bared on there onto the laptop. It was yeah, just one of those other instances where I want to get things in the house out of the I guess out of the elements there. And I don't know if the microphone is picking up any of the booms, but we have the fireworks are starting to go off. And as we approach the 5th of November in the UK for Guy Fawkes Night, basically almost every night we've heard a lot of fireworks going off, and if people don't restrict themselves to that one night for fireworks. And obviously the way how things are going right now in the UK, we are not going to be having any Guy Fawkes Night festivities, so no bonfires or anything like that, unfortunately. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing on their streets, in their back gardens. What's up, Two Socks? Hi all. Good to have you here. I've been mildly fighting with my internet connection and Photoshop all night, and just trying to bring some images that I've captured earlier in the year to a point that we can see them. So let me give this another go here. Could not use the move tool because it's not okay. All right. Let's try and build up a image of the North America Nebula. I'm going to see if I want to get any more. Really isn't much more from these channels I can pull out of here. And probably that also might Third Rock, what you mentioned earlier, was kind of creating, I guess, a green channel from these from the combined O3 and H beta, which probably has maybe been impeding some of my photographs in the past, and it's just another process that I need to look into. And I think there might even be one of those actions on here. I have to see to create a green channel out of what these blue elements should be. So yeah, well, I'm going to use this, use a bit of this green, maybe smooth things out there. And this was one of those things that that I had picked up from one of Astro Backyard's tutorials, was doing this per channel processing, and for some of my images it's turned out really well, because you're able to just highlight, you're creating that luminance layer out of your data, where if you don't have like just a solitary like hydrogen alpha filter or any other specific filters to hand, you're able to kind of pull that detail out of your own image and just be able to punch things up a little bit there. So just going to use, I don't know if I want to use any of that there. Let's just see how that looks for the noise level. See if that improves it or just makes it worse. It doesn't do much to it there. Alright, let's leave that as it is. Do a little bit of, I mean, actually for every little bit that I'm doing on here, that's making Photoshop think a little harder. A little worried it's going to just say, nah, I'm gonna crash on you, which would be mildly unfortunate because I haven't saved any of this image. But I'm just going to do a little bit of noise reduction on here, just a tiny little bit, so I'm not really destroying much or losing not losing much contrast in the image, but just enough to make this new luminance layer a little a little cleaner. All right, I would leave. Bump it up to 60, call it done, post it for an APOD. That's it. Now, what I do miss is that my trial has run out on my Topaz Denoise AI, and I'm always thinking about purchasing that that one there. You have an idea now. Is it to put noise reduction to the maximum in all the images? Combine them all into one? All right. Let's I'll do that little change there. It's not a massive change there. I don't know if you can see. And the window has stopped responding. Has it? There we go. So that's just that little bit of noise reduction running on this layer here. 1 hour integration, no problem. Camera raw filter, baby. That's it for the most part. The camera raw filter will help out with some things. All right, let's move this back into our color image. Stars are really clean. Great guiding and sampling. Yeah, this was off of the with 72 ED, and yeah, definitely at the longer focal length, the guiding is always going to be nice and forgiving there. And really, for the 533 for these two scopes, the sampling is a kind of just right into both of those sweet spots with things. And that's another thing that when I kind of did that research, I knew I was going to be investing in the RC8, the scope that I have now, that the 533, the everything worked really well, so I wasn't over or under sampling on that, and because the seeing in my area was just it's just in that right in general how the seeing can be around here. It's yeah, I left with really nice stars overall, aside from those comas that come from, pardon me, with the tri-band filter there. So was this taken in the last couple of days? This image was from back in June. It was kind of in the precursor to my the 10-minute astrophotography that we're doing on this channel here. But it's just one of those things where you collect so much data sometimes, and you almost forget about what images you've taken, and they sit by the wayside there. And this was one of those things. I was kind of looking through my archives of images just to see what was available, because I just wanted to have more images lined up for these rainy day astronomy episodes, as it were. I don't call them episodes anyway. Sessions. We'll call them sessions. So yeah, this was an earlier image. This was also with a smaller telescope than what I've been using recently on the channel. So it's yeah, the stars are a little. Overall, everything is a little more forgiving with a wider field of view. So you're not the guiding doesn't have to be exactly on point. However, for the most part, my guiding has remained the same from the smaller scope and the bigger scope, which hasn't been too bad. There have been some days when I just think that the guiding has just phoned it in, and for some reason it doesn't want to respond, no matter what what you try and change the settings to. But that's just some of the dynamic things that happen with astrophotography, where something can work well one night and the next night it all goes to pot, and you gotta roll with it and see what you can change up on the fly, and hopefully you can salvage as much of the night as possible. So that's also again why I'm shooting in color as opposed to trying to get even more detail with monochrome, is because in the UK the weather is can be largely unpredictable, and like I said, for next week everything looks great for the weather, and that can all change. So I think only Wednesday is the only bad looking night, and it could change where the Wednesday is only going to be the good night, and everything else is just going to be, just complete rubbish for the clouds rolling in. But we'll see how that goes for the coming week there. Right, so that is our black and white. Fancy editing one of my photos. Sure. Always playing with different data is welcome, because everyone's gonna have a bit of a different setup as well, and there are some targets that you can probably see in your area, in your back garden, that I cannot. So like I said, my view is really just to the north. Oop. Oh boy, that's probably gonna change some. Hit the wrong button there. My view being into the so yeah, to the east. This is my altitude isn't exactly where it should be in Stellarium, but that's basically what I can see from my back garden, and the rest from this angle it would be impeded by trees. Yeah, sure. I'll send you an email later. We'll get that sorted out. Appreciate that. So yeah, it's basically everything to the south is a no-go for me, and and right now, here's where the moon would be looking down our scope, and it would just be causing all sorts of issues. So that's a bit of my issue, that I have that view to the east and it is impeded by the moon and just overall clouds tonight. However, Orion is starting to get above the houses, above the roof line much sooner for me, so I'm very excited to be imaging some parts of that constellation in that area of the sky, because I basically missed out on a lot of Orion last season because the weather was it wasn't favorable at all, and I was also at a point where I was setting up my scope and taking it down the same night, and just the way how my setup works is that I'm not about to trek everything. I can't fit. I wouldn't be able to fit the scope through my door, so I got to take everything down until now, when I'm actually able to leave things. Which hand? There we go. Down there. Leave the scope open, or leave the scope out, but cover it up. And that way my setup time at the moment is about 20 minutes from cover off to focus and to have guiding set up. So that's a lot better, and definitely kind of saves on time for when I want to be able to have a clear sky and do this. Finally home. That was a quick trip to the market there, Putsy. So, are you going to get any sleep, or you just kind of roll on Sunday and and just let the day take you where it may. Quick? That seemed quick. How long ago did you leave? Okay, all right, fine. It's been 2.5 hours. That's what she said. Fair enough. All right, so time flies when you're having fun. Well, so as far as playing Phasmophobia, that's definitely taking a back seat for right now. Again, not too fast. The whole point of the channel is for this. Now, let's get back to our image of the North American Nebula. By no means what I'm doing is actually much of a tutorial, but it's just kind of being able to see the process of how I at least edit astrophotography, and everybody else's process can vary greatly between what I do, but that's I always like watching others process their images, because there are a few things that I don't necessarily do that probably I should do or can do, and just doing what I can to improve the image there. So yeah, the image is, I guess it's progressed since you left. So we went from that was our starting image. There's our kind of our color right now, and this is our taking the data from the red channel and just creating a luminance layer. So we so drop the opacity on that, I guess, to about 40% maybe, and that's at least starting to, it tones down the overall colors of things. And what I might do is, just for now, merge that one down and going to increase the star color on here. And again, this is just, I say this is a quick way or a quick process of things. 2.5 hours into all of this, but I think it's overall, like, I'll ramble on about things, and I'm not exactly getting the work done on here, but there's also been some nice conversation going on in the chat. I appreciate that. And again, for anybody who is watching on YouTube, primarily YouTube is right now being used to save these videos, because they don't stay on Twitch for too long. And at the moment of where I'm at for where we've just reached affiliate, I think you can keep them on there for a little longer. And I don't know how that works. We'll have to see. I haven't looked into it too much, but I know YouTube, if I save them on there, they're there. And I'll eventually kind of get some other little videos up on YouTube. And yeah, for those of you watching on Facebook, hi. If you have any questions, for sure, I can see them in the chat over here. But if you want any messages that are popping up on the bottom of the screen, that is from our Twitch chat, where I am basically running off of, this is kind of the home channel for all of this. And yeah, I wanted to multi-stream because I started doing a lot of this on Facebook originally, and I really didn't want to leave them out of things. Leave those who don't want to muck around with Twitch and they're just happy to watch on Facebook, and that's totally fine. There's no pressure to move over to the Twitch channel. However, my Facebook streams might be moving to my personal account for those who are watching, because the monthly subscription for the restream is about $20. And like I said, right now, despite that I just reached this level where I can monetize things, I'm just trying to keep things as free as possible for the moment, because until this can actually, if this starts to do moderately well, then I'll be changing changing that up a bit there and investing a little more in those elements. But yeah, like I said, trying to keep things as free as possible for the moment until things get rolling a little better there. But that's those are for the later goals on this there. So I'm going to run the increased star color on here. I know there's also things you can do to you do your star masks on here, and you can bump up your saturation in those levels. But this one, restream.io, yeah, it costs money if you want to stream to a group, but if I'm doing it to Facebook and my personal Facebook and YouTube, it'll do it for, you can just do it for free. But it's when you start doing to specific sites or specific elements that it wants to charge you money on there. So yeah, it's just that it's that one specific thing that I wanted it for, that it's taken a bit of the money. But the first month I had you get a $10 discount on your subscription there, so I paid $9, which for me came out to be like £6. And I think for that little trial period, I was willing to part with what would be a couple of cups of coffee, which I really haven't bought any coffee in a long time. So at that math, I could probably afford 3 houses, but we'll see how the rest of that goes there. Now I've run the star color boost on there, and also largely because everything looks a little more red. Yeah, there's something about with how Restream goes, is that it says it doesn't really impact your stream overall. And I watched the videos, and there was only one instance where everything just went completely wrong, but I had fixed that up afterwards, and everything seems to be working a little better, save for the times when the internet has kind of cut out. So yeah, there's more that could have been done with this image. I mean, it's still, I can muck around with the color levels, but what I really wanted to be able to see was mainly this the structure of the North American Nebula. And again, this is the first time I kind of stacked this image together and did any bit of processing on it. So usually if I am doing an image, I'll spend a lot more time on these trying to pull out little details. And like I said, I've started over before, and yeah, it's just working to pull out those details as much as possible. And I think I've because it doesn't show me histogram on here, you can see that there is this large bulk of red on either side there, and like I said, I've been trying to adjust that. However, it isn't playing ball. Well, I guess if not the result that I'm quite looking for. Although, let's see, let's just bring that in a little bit, darken that up. And also I've noticed some people who have done the processing on this nebula at this angle, it also kind of resembles a bit of a skull with its mouth open, almost Ghost Rider like. So there we go. There's our theme for Halloween. This is a flaming skull. If you don't look at it as the North American Nebula, we'll look at it as the Ghost Rider Nebula. And that's my tie-in with Halloween for this session. see what other little bits. And also, what I do sometimes is I'll run multiple stacks of the luminance layer on here sometimes to bring out more details. And really, I'm not adding any more data, but I'm just kind of refining things a little bit more. And I think if I start mucking about with the saturation, I'm not going to get I'm going to get more red than anything, because there's a lot of stars in here that should be white. And again, that kind of comes from, I may have had to choose maybe a different stacking technique. But also, like I said, I've been kind of treating this image as I have the last few images, where it's much darker from coming out of the 8-inch telescope, because it is a little slower, and the data, it's just coming out a little different. So I've had to tease out that data a little more. All right, let's see if I can get rid of this kind of green cast that's still there. Now, usually if I'm doing camera raw on here to adjust the white balance, or to adjust the profile on here, doesn't always try to do it auto. No, that doesn't work out that well. Like, I don't know if you can't see it on here, so that's unfortunate. No, I'm trying to change it too much. And it's one of those things where I would start over from the beginning. So we got some slight vignetting around the edge. May dim the red and draw the eyes to the meat and potatoes image more. Possibly for this, for what's going on this image. Now, it looks a little different on both my monitors here, so perhaps it may not look as harsh on other people's monitors. I don't know if that's ending up a little too blue now. Yeah, I'm actually clipping a lot of the reds. No, I think well, I mean, that's nice and red. But again, also trying to find a gray point in this image is a little difficult, because mainly there's so much nebulosity in this area. That's not right. Actually, what you can kind of see where the darker areas are in here. And yeah, you see also you start losing some of the details in there. Yeah, I'm just at this point I'm just kind of fiddling around with a lot of stuff, but let's cancel out of that. And let's go back one more step as well. But again, like this this whole image processing isn't exactly meant to be a masterclass of a how-to guide. Sometimes it may be a how not to guide, but it's just exploring the image that I've taken, and being able to, because there are times I'll pause midway through editing and check out what other people have done, maybe for the same target that I've shot, and just see how they attack it a little differently. And clearly this was the night that I didn't do everything right. However, I'm happy with being able to see how much data is in this image, and I do like this area of the Cygnus wall that we're looking at. That is coming along very nice. And I think what I will do is I'll definitely be taking some more time to try and pull those details or get the colors right in this image. But that's not the button I want. I'm trying to get, there you go, a little more of that frame there, just to be able to increase that contrast in the area there, and fix those stars up, because I think that would look, actually that is almost about the focal length that I could expect to see with the 8-inch telescope if I was to target this area. And I think actually I did take one 10-minute image of this area of the Cygnus wall, and it was nice and close and nice and detailed, and that's over on the Instagram page, which if I had all my commands right, I can actually pop a link in there. And again, one of those things, I'm still getting used to these kind of quick fire commands, so I'm not doing this and jumping over to the page. And that's again, that's some more work to do for tomorrow, leading up till Monday, when we may expect to have some clearer skies. And where are we? Hey, all right, cool. Thanks, Putsy. Yeah, there's a link there that Putsy has posted to the Instagram channel. I'll get those bot things sorted out, and we'll make life a little easier. So we'll kind of, I think I'm going to maybe leave it at that for now. Yeah, again, throwing that other, again, that luminous layer again on the top of there starts to bring out a little more detail, improve the contrast a bit. And again, this would just be playing around with more of the contrast and levels here, just bringing in those details, and again bumping up the set. Well, that's way too much on the saturation. That just amplifies things. All right, dude. For now, I've got videos to edit. All right, Razine, Astrophotography, thank you very much for popping in. Appreciate that, man. Yes, have a good night. Yeah, I'll like I said, I'm gonna try and set up a Discord as well for all this, and just share these images there. And yeah, maybe a few will kind of go up on Instagram. I think it's really time to start promoting this channel a little more over there, with just some more eyes. And yeah, definitely, yeah. So enjoy your editing. Look forward to seeing your YouTube videos. Those who are interested in some more astronomy, you can check out Astrophotography on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, and he has some fantastic tutorials on there. And yeah, he's I think we share a bit of the same ethos, same mentality of the night sky. That's what kind of drew me to him as well, because I just felt like I had that quick connection with the guy, and he's just genuinely a good dude to listen to. So yeah, check out Astrophotography stuff, and yeah, enjoy that. So we'll catch him around soon. So yeah, happy to share out anybody's anybody's Instagram, anybody else who's streaming. So that's good, yeah. Exactly. Just shout it out, because you never know who's gonna kind of be drawn to the channels there, and there are some great communities out there that are more than happy to help, and yeah, it's just great to connect with different people. So always more than happy to shout things out, and I think that's probably another command that I want to have automatically done in there, to shout out some people. Again, that's just more stuff to work on, to try and improve the stream, to try and make this an efficient bit of programming, where we're able to kind of make things a little seamless, a little more seamless as possible there. Yeah, all about growing as a community. Yeah, that definitely, for sure. And the fact that we have, how many, 68, 69, what's the number there? But again, even that many people that are willing to check us out on Twitch for a little bit, that they might tell a friend, and that friend might tell 2 friends, and those 2 friends can tell 4 friends, and those 4 friends may not give a toss, but hey, at least you reached a few more people. Right. I think, yeah, beyond this one, I am just kind of amplifying any further errors that have kind of come up on this image, where I would like to see a little more evenly colored, a little better color in the stars. And that would just kind of almost go from starting from scratch, and I'm not don't know if I'm going to be prepared to do another 3 hours with this. So if you want to see me process this again, wait till this video is done and just watch it again. You'll probably end up with the exact same image anyway. Because also with these images, I haven't done any subframes on these. These are just the light frames. There's no darks, no bias, no flats. So nothing to kind of remove any of the noise, or any of the vignetting, or any kind of speckles that would be on the telescope there. Although for the most part, since moving to a dedicated astronomy camera and being able to cool the sensor down, I've noticed that in terms of using dark frames to get rid of the noise, I haven't felt that immediate need for it. Now that also might kind of help out with some other little bits here and there, that's for sure. But again, it's this almost immediacy of wanting to share these images as quickly as possible, but also not throwing out as much kind of, I don't want to have any like rubbish images going out there. And yeah, definitely for this image, it's one that I'm going to save as an example of what for me is a less than favorable outcome in terms of color. In terms of the contrast and detail, very happy with that. Because at 270 millimeters, this is a very, very large target in the sky. And at the sacrifice of finer details, I'm just very happy with how overall the image has turned out there. So I'm going to save that. And that is Twitch NGC 7000. Right, wait for that to save up there. Now, I had the ambitious plan of doing 2 images for processing. However, with just how much problems Photoshop was giving me there, and the fact that the internet, for some reason, has been not playing ball, I think I might will kind of wrap this one up with the North American Nebula, or as I have kind of redubbed it for Halloween, the Ghost Rider Nebula. If you can see that jawline, its open maw and flaming head. Work with me here. It's Halloween. I'm definitely going to. I've saved that one down. We'll, like I said, work towards getting a community set up on Discord so we can share these images, share the raw files, and yeah, just kind of work towards improving the community overall. And yeah, just to. There's a lot to do. There's definitely a lot that's on my plate for the next little bit. So there's always going to be something to improve, and it might come along slow, but at the same time, it's a deliberate pace, and I don't want to miss out on anything. I want to try to. I'm very detail oriented, and to a fault at times. So I do want to make sure that things are right. Things are looking good, and it's something that everybody can enjoy. I don't want to have anybody at the end of the stream or any kind of video or session or anything like that just kind of feeling a little cheated, because that's not my intention at all. And there's so many ideas that I want to do with this whole program, and some of it costs money, and it's really, I guess, in that respect, if there's more support in that regard, then there's more that I can do on here. However, there's free options that I can look into. I'm definitely going to look into, and it's just ways around being able to get a better idea of what we're looking at here. And here, let me jump over into let's take a quick tour. We'll wrap up the evening, and we are going to have a look at where exactly NGC 7000, the North American Nebula, is within our Milky Way. And I say that because I know that this object is in Space Engine. So there's that's it, NGC 7000. And just as we pass that way, there is Orion, the constellation of Orion, which is one of those targets, again, like which favors astrophotographers because it's great as a wide field, it's great as medium and deep field astrophotography. So there's just tons of things to see in there. So now while just following this, here we go. So we are pointed towards the constellation of Cygnus. And we're traveling way too slow. We are moving at twice the speed of light, 3 times the speed of light, 10 times the speed of light, and we are still really far away. Yeah, so it's about 2,000 light years away. So you really want to pick up the pace to get to the North American Nebula. Even if we're traveling at we really got to pick up the pace. Actually, there we go. That's we were traveling at this speed of light before. This is 1 light year per second. And we got a few stars that are whizzing by. So we got 2 light years per second. Even if we did that, we have to probably move up to a couple hundred light years per second if we're really going to want to see any movement. Or get any progression towards this nebula. But again, just to hopefully this kind of also gives you a bit of a sense of where we are, where this whole structure is. Let's slow down a little bit because we are approaching the North American Nebula, which is a very large structure. And its structure within this version of Space Engine is a little rudimentary, because you can kind of see it forming in here, but it's not as detailed as it could be. However, we're just getting a rough idea of where we are in the galaxy, and this structure is just in our own galaxy. It's not anywhere beyond, because there's all the nebula that we're seeing, all the big structures are within our own galaxy. But that would be, we are currently 100 light years away from the North American Nebula. And I don't think that this is this is not Stellarium. This is actually Space Engine, another planetary software program. This is the free version that is available on through their website. The paid version on Steam right now is it's about £20 or £50 depending on which version you want to get. And I would probably be working towards getting the £50 version, because then you have a license to share the videos that you make within, because you can set up a camera that'll do its own little tour, and the images are much more refined in the latest paid version of Space Engine. So yeah, that's the difference. This is so Stellarium is this one here, where where I'm looking through my back garden and just kind of getting a rough idea. It's more of a flat kind of 2D representation of things. So if we were to, let's say, actually I think it might be overloading things at the moment. But yeah, say if we go to the North American Nebula in Stellarium. Let's get this to a spot where it's above the trees. You know, it's not really much of an image within Stellarium as well, and I think there's probably some other planetarium programs that give you that option. However, in Space Engine, you're able to at least kind of track things and get more of a 3D look around the object that we're looking at there. And I think, again, with the paid version, it looks a lot better than kind of this blotchy blob of nebulosity in this version there. But yeah, that is how things go in Space Engine. I'm going to close that because it seems to be eating up a lot of memory and slowing things down a bit. And I probably should have run that as an administrator to save on a headache. And we're just waiting for that to close. So I can stop dropping frames. And I wonder if a lot of this stuff is going to crash. Now, also, I turned off the ASI Air because I disconnected my Wi-Fi from that because I was having some issues. Oh, I know. So many frames being dropped, I can't stop it right now. This is not respond. There we go. That should help out. We should be getting back on track. Let's get back on track. Are we there? Are we on track? My gosh, I can see things struggling all over the place. All right, I'm also going to close Photoshop. So we have saved our image down. Let's get back some. Let the computer chill out for a second there. Close that down. No, I do not want to save that one. That is fine. Y'all can close down. All right. And again, let's look at playing with settings so I can have less dropped frames. It's still dropping frames. I can't believe this. It seems to be running so well. That's what I get for for overloading things by jumping into Space Engine. So that is clearly putting a big strain on everything here. Right, I think I'm going to call this one a night, and I may or may not do Phasmophobia after this. We'll see. I mean, it's still kind of early, but the way how things kind of went last night, I'm yeah, it's are things running smoother now? Has the computer calmed down? We've gotten back to some semblance of normalcy here. Yeah, so there we go. Right, got to work on some of those frames. So I want to thank everybody who has come into the stream tonight. Thank you all for your support. Thanks to everybody who has helped get me to the Twitch affiliate, to get us to the Twitch affiliate level, because this channel is for everybody, because I just want to be able to share as much of the universe as possible. I want to share any experiences with astronomy, astrophotography, and really just ramble on about one of my favorite sciences. And just right at the end of the stream, I check, am I in the right category? Let's see. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. I appreciate that so much, man. Oh, you get one of the founding members badges for the site now. Welcome as an associate to the observatory. Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really got to think of what I got to say, because I'm left rather speechless at the support that that I've seen in these communities, and I can't really thank everybody enough. And I guess the way how I really want to show my thanks is by improving this and bringing you guys as much of the universe as possible to your screens, and just being able to show you some new objects, get you a new perspective to the universe, as it were. We're supporting each other in any way possible, and that's just that whole, just outstanding communities that we have here, and hopefully we'll continue to grow this community. We'll have a much larger observatory in the future. Thank you. I'm genuinely enjoying watching what you do. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm still thinking of closer clears, guys. Oh man. Yeah, I thank you guys so much for everything. I'm just seeing if there's anyone to throw you guys over to in terms of a raid, but people who there's nobody else on my list at the moment, and yeah, I think we'll kind of just quietly end Halloween Eve on this for now. So again, I thank you guys so much for the support that you've given, and that we've gotten to this point on things, and we'll be back. If I'm not back in about half an hour to do some Phasmophobia, I will definitely try to be back Monday, where the skies are looking clear, a little windy, but we'll give it a shot anyway. If the skies are clear, I'm going to give it a shot, and if it kind of goes to pot, I have another image we can kind of work on. But for now, and the moon is going to be up, so at least you can kind of look at that for a little bit. That's kind of fun. So for now, I'm going to I'll leave you guys for the evening. A very happy Halloween to everyone. For in any way, shape, or form that you were kind of able to go out trick-or-treating and find some candy. That's about it. So yeah, so much more on schedule for the future, and very exciting times coming up. And I thank you so much. And like I said, I'm not always going to be doing astronomy. Well, 90% of the time astronomy. Maybe some video games. That's nothing new. And yeah, that's trying to figure out a way how to roll into my into the end here. So we'll leave it at that. So I'm not here to change the world. I'm here to share the universe. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I will see you Monday at earliest. Thank you very much. Have a good night.